Good morning and welcome to this special webcast. It's great to have you along today as we jump into the topic here, which I'll explain what it is just a moment. But before that, this commercial announcement. If you're not already a member, consider joining the Casablanca expert community. There's actually more than 850 articles online, streaming videos, short tutorials, webinar archives. Email Ask the Expert to Chet, available 24 hours a day when you need the answers. $12.99 a month or $120 for 12 months. Most members say that this service is invaluable. If you've invested in a Casablanca video editor, invest in getting the most out of it by joining CasablancaExpert.com. Website members also invited to join me every Monday morning at 7 a.m. Pacific time. We'll have a lot on our plate this morning. We'll kind of debrief the whole topic of today. And again, website members can sign up for that at the website. If you're not yet a member, there's something else you're missing that may greatly contribute to your enjoyment, your success with your Casablanca video editor. Today's special webcast, meet Gary McNally, new owner of MacroSystem Americas. And by the way, Gary, whose mic is not on yet, I really do favor and enjoy the new name that I'm sure you had a part of. Your host today, the venerable, the honorable, the highly modest, the all-knowing, all-seeing Chet Davis, otherwise known as a Casablanca expert. That would be me, and I actually do have my live webcam set up, and I'll show my untidy self in just a moment. Again, today's special webcast, 30-minute program, is really focused on the news that was released by MacroSystem US this past Tuesday, and that is that MacroSystem here in North America, actually in all of the Americas, has a brand new owner in the name of Gary McNally. This is the email that you received from MacroSystem US this past Tuesday, indicating that Gary is taking over. And I'll read the first couple sentences here. We're excited to announce that Gary McNally of McNally's Plug and Play is going to take the reins of MacroSystem line of products in the Americas. Just as in Germany, where the largest Casablanca dealer became the new distributor, we found the right company to take the Casablanca forward here in North and South America. And this was, I believe, written by Eric Clore. He didn't choose to sign his name or indicate that here, but he's been the president of MacroSystem US prior to Gary taking the reins. And so I believe this was intended to come from him. And he continues, you might wonder why we're making this transition. Part of the answer has to do with passion. Gary has it in spades for this business, this industry. I should also indicate that a couple days after this announcement, Eric Clore did make a post on the Cassie tips list where he went one step further, because a lot of people have this question, you know, why would MacroSystems sell the company? So, and they indicated that, you know, I'd like to publicly welcome Gary as our new leader, rather. He's a terrific gentleman who I just had the delight of spending a week with here in Boulder. This is from Eric Clore. He's caring, fun, generous, knowledgeable, and kind. He's the right guy to take this project forward. And then Eric continues, our overhead had become a burden with 4 of us employees and the rents here in Boulder. So we found the most competent Cassie guy in the U.S. with the intelligence and drive to continue this project, and we were lucky that he said yes to our offer. So let me introduce to you now Mr. Gary McNally, the new head of MacroSystem Americas. And let me go ahead and click Gary's mic. Gary, you're live in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the program, Gary.
Good morning, Americas.
There you go. There you go. You know, and I was just going down my list here, and I know that as far as folks signing up, we had a colleague in the UK sign up, and maybe even one in Australia. I know we've got a couple colleagues in the UK live with us today. So great to have you along as well. So thank you for taking the time, Gary. I know when news of this broke, I'd had the pleasure of working with Gary for years now, with you know, in relationship to Casablanca, and I was thrilled to have the opportunity to connect with you further. And I said, Gary, I'm sure a lot of people are going to have questions. Would you mind joining me for a short telecast? And he said, I would be happy to. So thank you for getting up early. Both Gary and I are up early in this Pacific time zone. In fact, to find out where Gary's from, let's do this before we get into the meat of the program. So you can see on the screen right there two kind of important places in the Casablanca universe. The green dot is Kiel, Kiel, Germany. That's where MacroMotion's offices headquarters are in northern Germany. And to the far left of this image, you see that red point, and that would be almost at the tippy top of the state of Washington. In fact, for a close-up, there we have Blaine, Washington, which I think is the closest city, if I'm not mistaken, Gary. So you can see that he's pretty much almost in the border of Canada, but he lives up there in a beautiful place, and I had the pleasure of visiting him when we did a couple Casablanca events last couple years, and he and his wife hosted a wonderful meal at their home. Yeah, and I still have your wife's chicken enchilada recipe, by the way. So, all right, enough blabbering, Chet. People want to meet you. So here's so Gary. Let me go to let me see. Do I have a generic slide? There's a shot of Gary and his wife. So we got some incriminating photos of Gary when he was a child as well. There we go. Well, Gary, again, thank you for joining us this morning. Gary and I just kind of prepared a little outline so I didn't go off topic too much. But Gary, if you could just, if you wouldn't mind giving us a little background on yourself.
Yeah, sure, Chet. Yeah, I was a tinker as a kid and took everything apart, and sometimes I was able to get it back together, and started out in the 70s with TV repair and copier repair, and then I could make more money in copier sales. And before I go any further, do you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Got you loud and clear.
Okay, good. Then I started designing cable TV systems and installing them, private cable systems in the mountains primarily of California, where mining camps and logging camps couldn't get any TV. Southern California Edison Company couldn't get any TV, and all their men that were back there, and the dam and electrical system of California. And so I put in, a big dish, satellite cable TV distribution systems, things like that. Then you were an ROP instructor, weren't you, Chet?
I was. Good memory.
Yeah. So when I got out of that, I kind of had a bug for video. So Truckee High School, California, as an adult, I joined the seniors there at Truckee High School and took video production.
Oh my gosh.
And in 1995, I won the ROP Student of the Year. You may recall that the big prize back in that decade was $25. It was a Bank of America savings bond or something like that. Probably you never had a student that won the award, right, Chet?
No. That's right. Well, my students, what I did is I took an old VHS tape and I spray painted it gold, so you got a better prize.
So anyway, and that turned into that same studio, the ROP studio there at Truckee High School. Shortly thereafter, turned into the cable system for all of Lake Tahoe, and over a number of different cable systems. It became TV Channel 6. So during the daytime, it was kind of the kids channel, and at night it turned into the adult channel, and not in the triple X way of speaking, but yeah, for many years I ran that as well, and we would do about 3 productions a night. People would come in for the first show about 6, and then we had one at 7, and then we had one at 8. Some were live, some were live to tape, and so probably about 400 shows over the years. Even got involved in a big way with the 1998 or maybe 97 Lake Tahoe Environmental Summit when had a chance to meet the president and vice president, and so it was a great time of learning video production and and during that process. I had been working with the Panasonic analog gear of the early '90s, and looking for something a little better. So I started going to the NAB shows, and in 1997, I bought a Cassie Classic off the NAB floor. Erica Clore sold it to me, and we loaded up some of that Sony footage. It was so spectacular, and I carried it on under my arm on the airplane and flew back to Truckee, and it became an instant hit almost.
Wow. Now, did you say what year that was? I don't mean to tax your brain. I can't remember
It
myself.
was 1997, about
Wow.
April.
Oh my goodness. Wow. So you've been with video a long time, and really you have a solid connection to the company from its earliest days as even as an end user. So
Yes, after the Cassie Classic had run its course and they had gone on to the Avio and Cron, I purchased exclusive rights and repair and sales of the Cassie Classic. So I've been supporting that piece of equipment, for a long time.
that's right. That's right. In fact, and apologize, not sure. Do were you a Cassie dealer prior to negotiating the becoming the classic, um, uh, the sole provider of the Cassie Classic?
No, David Sloan, if you remember him,
Yeah. Hmm.
it's funny. I probably shouldn't even mention this, but you remember Community TV, that national organization
Oh yes.
for
Yeah,
yeah, Alliance for Community TV.
that's right.
Well, I attended that for many years, and so I forget, it was maybe '99 or something, '98. I decided to do a booth at Alliance for Community Media in Reno, Nevada, and so I called up David Sloan. I says, "Oh, I'm going to really invest a lot of money, and I want to make sure that we're good to go for next year, because this was just before they send out the annual contracts to dealers." And he says, "Yep, you're good, Gary. I like the job you're doing, blah blah blah." And so we went ahead and did that. Got a couple sales off of it. Went put in an order, and he had canceled me as dealer. So I don't know why. Never did tell me. Nobody ever told me. But anyway, I sorry to digress. But yeah, I came back on board when I bought the Cassie Classic.
Got it. Got it. And so you've been nurturing the Cassie Classic for years now, and I know just in our conversations, you've still had some really solid customers who have been putting that baby to great use still. So that's wonderful.
Yes, some guys are still doing cable TV shows and stuff.
And I know when I got involved with Macro System US, we had I guess, a developing and increasing relationship, and I always enjoyed our conversations. Whether it was on the phone, via email, and when we connected live, you and I met in Las Vegas for several of the National Association of Broadcasters, the NAB shows. um, you were not only kind enough, but I think you were supportive enough of the product line that you were pretty aggressive about beating the bushes and inviting representatives up in your neck of the woods to get together to Casablanca events. And I think you hosted, a small handful of workshops. I know here in Northern California, as well as in Oregon, rather Washington. We did a couple up there.
Portland.
Portland, that's right, the Portland event. Thank you for reminding me. That's right now. I
Mm-hmm.
remembered that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
So the one thing I want to cement there is that I don't know a lot of behind the scenes stuff, but what I can tell people is God's honest truth. And Gary's been enmeshed with Casablanca for a long time. The couple things that I can say clearly about Gary is that he cares about the product, he knows about the product, and I think he's passionate about it. And I think that is speaks well for the future of Casablanca. There's a lot of people that with this news this week are like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen. And I don't know what's going to happen any more than Gary, and he has better sense of some things than I do, and I wish him great success with this move. But at the very least, I can say I do believe it's in great hands in terms of a person who's, again, knowledgeable and passionate about the product. That is awesome. If I can, Gary, what interested you about stepping into this new role with MacroSystem Americas?
Well, basically, I think it was George Sprague that was the big selling point for me. We talked, Skyped for hours, and what the guys in Germany are doing. They're investing hundreds of thousands of dollars in software development, and so we both agree that there is no editing system that is quick like ours. I have a wedding wholesaler that just takes his content from the wedding shooters, and he will do a wedding a day for $500 wholesale. You provide him the content, and he tries all the competitive systems because time is money for him. 5 weddings, $500 a day, a week. That's $2,500 a week. So if he can get another wedding out of it in a week, he would do it. But he can't. The quickest is our system, our software, and probably the worst is the Final Cut Pro. It takes four times as long. So that's the message I want to send.
Okay, that's great. Well, that actually answered one of my next questions was, did you have any conversations with the folks in Germany? And clearly you did. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was key. I mean, obviously they sell the software and they sell the hardware. So without them, we're pretty much done here.
Right. Well, and honestly, having some kind of knowledge behind the scenes of the company, its operations, and even its what's in development and what's in the future, there must have been something optimistic for you to jump into this. I can't imagine, knowing you as a successful person, wouldn't have jumped into this thinking it was something that you wouldn't want to get involved with. So that's good. Go ahead. Did I interrupt you?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm very excited about Bogart for Windows. I've been using it for about 7 months now, and of course, maybe you're a Mac guy, Chet. Maybe you can kind of explain how it also might be able to work on the Mac with a few programs.
Sure. It looks like I'll soon be receiving access to the Bogart for Windows software. Actually, and the truth be told, anybody could access it now on the trial mode, and I'll provide that link because I think it's public. Um, the way it is Windows software. Period. I do not expect that the company will ever create Bogart for Mac, and there's a lot of reasons which we could spend some time another time talking about that. We'll talk about that Monday morning in our coffee clutch. But um, there are ways that an Apple computer can run Windows software. In fact, there's a couple PC magazines that say the best experience you can have in a Windows environment is running Windows OS on a Mac hardware, an Apple hardware. So one is called Boot Camp. You actually partition the hard drive, and the partition would be Mac OS on part of the hard drive. The other part will be Apple, and you could actually load Windows and run the software. That's the most idyllic because all the system resources go to the Windows environment and that application. The other way is to run what they call emulators, either Parallels or VM Fusionware, which are two software applications that allow you to essentially be an application on your desktop. And when you launch that application, it doesn't launch a program. Instead, what it does is it actually launches the Windows environment. And so you can have a program running on that. The challenge there from a computer architecture standpoint is that the software is running Mac OS and it's running VM Fusionware, which is running Windows OS, which would then be running Bogart for Windows. So you'd want to only be doing that on a very robust computer with tons of system resources. But I will be putting that through its paces, and we'll definitely share with with my website members the success that I have with that system and the results and any recommendations for how to go forward. For sure, for sure. So
Yeah, and
go
I
ahead.
would caution that MacroSystem is just tested the Windows side of it, so
Right,
the
right.
Mac
I'm not.
is
That's why I wanted to be very clear that we're not saying, yeah, this,
uh,
so I don't want anybody to walk away saying, yeah, Chet said you can run the new software on a Mac. I'm going to test this, and really it is. Again, it's not on a Mac running the Apple OS. It's Apple hardware running Windows software, Windows OS. So it's a very different. It's not right out of the box. You can't take your Apple computer and do this. There are a number of substantive steps that you have to do to get to this, and do not do it until you have um, some feedback from a reliable source. Okay,
good.
that
And
that that cover our
yeah,
bases, Gary. One.
yeah, and the download is just for the bronze version, which is a basic version. Be good for field cutting, something like that. Uh, but um, but yeah, hopefully it's good for 30 days as a free trial, and hopefully at some point we can put up the full version, the gold version, and so people can try the full version for 30 days
Right,
before
because I
purchasing it.
should be clear as well. At least in NTSC, this software is in beta mode, so the download release is specifically for PAL machines. Though that with the new systems, that's going to be less of an issue, which we can talk about sometime in the future too, in terms of the ability to bring in PAL and NTSC right into the OS.
Yeah, in fact, the versions are very similar. You can switch back and forth between PAL and NTSC very quickly and easily.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, we've got some questions popping in, and some of them relate to, what you and I talked about is, so do I understand right? And maybe it's already happened. The offices of the former MacroSystem US are now closed, and essentially the company has moved to Washington. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that that's the case. I think Dennis was saying yesterday he'd probably work from home on Monday. And Dennis has graciously agreed to stay on as a consultant. I think, after 17 years, he's ready for something new, but he will help me get through the reorganization for sure. And as long as I need help, he's going to be there.
That's great. He is certainly a wealth of knowledge and information. And if I understood right in Eric's notes that Justin Philpott will be continuing on in terms of the beta team lead.
Yes, absolutely. Had a chance to have dinner with Justin when I was back there in Boulder, and we had a very great dinner. Great to finally meet him in person, and so the beta team is going strong and well managed by Justin.
Great. Well, a couple questions here, and I would put them under the umbrella of this overarching question, which I think is the question I would most expect Well, I think there's two big questions in people's mind. Is one, is this company going to be around a month from now or a year from now? And I think I won't put words in your mouth, but the fact that you've invested now in this company, I would say you hope yes. The
Yeah, but both me and more importantly Germany are investing heavily, and you see stuff like the sky is falling posted, and the world has changed, and what happened to Sears? They had to reorganize. It looks like J.C. Penney's may go through bankruptcy. Amazon.com is one of the leading retailers, and they don't even have a retail store that I know of. It's just a whole different ballgame.
That's right.
And so we're taking more of an online presence.
Got it. Well, that leads directly into the next question. And the umbrella is, what will be different from the customer's point of view? You already indicated right there that, more of an online presence. A couple people are asking about, what about service? Is that something that will be under your purview, or?
Yes, I'd I'd hope to concentrate mostly on sales and marketing and spreading the ease of edit and the quickness of edit to the more people, because it's kind of a well-kept secret. But yeah, Chuck wasn't sure. Chuck was uh, the service guy in in Boulder, the phone guy, the shipping guy, and I'd hope to keep those services back in Boulder, but didn't work out at this time, and so I moved that. It's in transit to Washington now, and I had a service shop already for the Cassie Classic, so we'll just be expanding that for all the rest of the MacroSystems equipment.
Okay, so that pretty clearly answers a couple people's questions. Is if my Casablanca editor needs service, who do I go to? And I guess the answer is you go to MacroSystem Americas to arrange for service.
And for the past decade, I've been working on all the smart edit systems, from the Avio, Cron, Prestige, Solitaire, Renome, and I'm sure there's a better way to pronounce that. Uh, and and I actually, would have been servicing the S series units if I could have got the parts. So I've been in them many times, and do my typical add-ons, bigger hard drives, more RAM, uh, and upgrading from DVD to Blu-ray burners, that kind of stuff. But I didn't have the parts. Now I got the parts, and so sure, I'll have a question or two from uh, Chuck or Dennis, but I don't see any problems. We spent a lot of time in service when I was back in Boulder, and there's some extensive notes that I took. So I think we're in good hands.
Well, I think that's important for people to know too. It's not like Gary is not only a business owner, he's a hands-on guy, and he's had his hands, literally, his fingers inside these machines. He knows them well. So, Gary, if I'm working with a Casablanca reseller already, um, am I going to be able to continue to get software from them, or stay in touch with them? Does your taking the reins change how I deal with my dealer, or?
Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of a delay. The server in Boulder, or the hard drive for the server in Boulder, has been sent to Germany, so they're going to combine databases, and then the dealers will get set up uh, with their download servers hooked up to Germany instead of Boulder. So
Okay,
for
got
a week or two.
yeah. I get the big question I'm asking though. Are you still keeping these dealers? Am I still going to be able to
Oh
work
yeah,
with my local dealer?
the dealer network is totally intact, and
Okay, great.
uh, so I haven't had a chance to talk to everybody individually, uh, that would be my intention.
So it's not just to make it clear to people, Gary in the move to Washington is not taking over the role that many of you have with your local dealer. That continues. Gary's become, the coordinator, the centerpiece for the Americas in place of MacroSystem US. So if you're working with a local reseller, continue doing so. If you've got a good relationship with one, then continue doing so. This is not mentioned at all to, to put that out. So that's important, I think, for people to understand. Um, it,
No, the dealer
couple
network. I'm a dealer. I was a dealer for 17 years approximately. So yeah, that's the perspective that I take into this. What can I do better for dealers?
Nice. So, any dealer listening to this, or in the future, will be pleased to know. Again, Gary comes from your perspective. He walked a mile in your shoes. So I think he's going to do things that, work well for you and further the product line. I don't know if you all heard a few moments ago as Gary was talking too. He said, this product line is one of the best kept secrets on the planet. And that's, I know in our conversation the other day, Gary, you had that in your mind. One of the big things I want to do is to do what I can marketing and sales wise to get the word out. That's something that I know you had high on your list to start to formulate plans and put that into action. So
Yeah, absolutely. That's my number one. Well, besides, uh, yeah, after I get everything organized and running efficiently, that'll be my number one mission.
great. Well, I one of our colleagues online today says Gary is my dealer. Are you going to continue? Maybe if you don't know that yet, I'll let you contact your customers explicitly. I won't put you on the spot, but
Yeah, it's been a busy week.
yeah, no
That's for
doubt.
sure.
So a
And
couple
I
people are
apologize
asking.
for
Go ahead.
not getting a word to my customers, but they will be in good hands, and they'll be free to. Uh, I'll be there for them, and
Nice.
certainly um, they'll be in good hands as well.
Oh yes, definitely. Well, and really, just for people that missed your conversation a moment ago too, is you've been in Boulder for the last number of days. So rubbing elbows with the key people there to really kind of grease the skids and prepare you for this transition. So, Gary's been spending long hours this last week plus on making this happen. So. Um, Couple questions. What will your approach for software sales be? Will Club Casablanca continue, or is that still in a question for development?
Yeah, I guess the general thing is I'm not changing what isn't broken, and I don't think much was broken back in Boulder. If there was one thing that I missed was the constant communication and uh, that that you did when you were there, Chet, as the vice president of sales and marketing. You always had news about the product on a monthly, if not bi-monthly basis, and even when there wasn't new product news, you would talk about the hidden features of the existing product, always keeping things going with communication. So I'm going to try to do the same thing. I'm going to follow in your footsteps.
Great, great. Well, that's good to hear. I think that I do believe I hear from a lot of people that's something that they've missed, and so that's one thing I want to cement. I know I'm on Gary's email list, as he was a dealer there at McNally's Plug and Play, and that's wonderful. I think that will help immensely with the current product line group. And one of our colleagues points out, and Chet still does that every Monday on the Monday Morning Coffee Clutch. So if you're not a website member, I'm shaking my finger at you now. Come on, you ought to consider joining the membership. Gary's been very supportive of me in this role as the Casablanca expert too. So I appreciate that, Gary. Um, let's see. People are at. Let me see another question that might be here. Um, and maybe you are welcome because this is a public forum, to say we can't talk about that now. But somebody's asking. can you tell us anything about what's in the future? Is that something Jorg's going to mention with his link at the MGT reunion next month?
Well, yeah, I don't want to steal Jorg's thunder at MGT. And speaking of which, that's a great event that's being put on middle of April, April 15th, 16th, and 17th, just north of Chicago there on, I guess it's Lake Michigan. And a great itinerary set up with some great networking and classes. So, so Jorg is going to Skype in. Jorg is going to do a video of all the new things in the pipeline, and then that'll play there at the MGT. It used to be called the March Get Together, and probably waiting for things to thaw out in the Northeast or Midwest. And so
well, in fact,
moved it into
the original March Get Together was sponsored and hosted by Jim Meeker, the creator of that event. And this year's event, if I'm not mistaken, the correct name is the MGT Reunion, and that's John Klaban and Dale Bishop, I think, are the co-chairs of that particular event. So they're the ones, making sure that this all comes together. And Dale, if you're online, if you could send me the URL for your event in case people want to find out more about that, I'll make sure that I share that. And in fact, I'm going to Skype in for a half an hour or something, I think, on Tuesday afternoon of that event. So, in fact, Jorg, our MacroSystem Germany, Macro Motion, I should say, I believe they're having a drawing there, and they're going to give away 2 gold packages of the new Bogart for Windows. So, very cool, very cool.
Yes, thanks for Macro Motion in Germany for doing that. And yeah, go ahead, Chet.
No, that's okay. Okay, Joe Connell's online this morning as well, and he's given me, ooh, that's a long URL, but I'll repost it. Let's see, MGT reunion.
But yeah, probably the first thing out of the gate, Chet's going to be the 2014 club software, and so yeah, to answer your question, we'll be continuing with the Cassie Club, and if you don't know what that's about, it's a great way to stay current with the products and save a lot of money in the process. Bigger discounts on software.
Great.
Well, we'll be doing that in April.
In April, okay. Well, so Jorg's going to share kind of some substantive news. It sounds like, give us kind of tip of the hat of what's coming up in the weeks and months to come with MacroSystem. Tim Thrift asks, will news from that event be available to those of us who cannot attend? I would imagine that's going to become. Here's what I would love to do, Gary. Would you mind? Maybe we don't have to put it on the calendar now, but would you consider joining me again for another webinar after the April event so that we can
absolutely
make it public to those who cannot attend that?
Absolutely.
Great. Okay, so everybody heard that. So we'll have Gary back on the program in a webcast probably at the end of April, so that we can kind of debrief what happened there in the news, the official news from Jorg and Macro Motion, etc. So excellent.
And I might I think you're going to be live streaming.
I'm going to be doing a Skype connection there as well. Yeah. So yes.
So you're probably going to take all my thunder, aren't you?
Oh no. I'm going to continue on in my role. People say, well, what's your new role and everything else? And Gary and I have talked just kind of about some tentative plans about doing some live events and stuff. I'm going to continue to do what I believe I've always done well, and that's training and instruction. So I believe my bailiwick, what makes me tick, what brings me joy is teaching people. And, people tell me I'm damn good at it. So I'm going to continue to offer web events, tutorial DVDs, perhaps again someday, live events where I provide expert training and instruction. So, some people are asking.
Yeah, 17 years of teaching regional occupational video production. You hone your skills well there, and of course, a degree from San Jose State in radio, and you were a broadcaster for a while, so yeah, it served you well.
Well, thank you. Geez, either you got a good cheat sheet in front of you, or you got a good memory, or both. But yeah, a degree in radio, TV, broadcasting, and I found that I like that, and I still like doing like this. But there's something thrills me about teaching people. So one of our colleagues asks, "Are there going to be any more software programs for the Smart Edit machine?" And I'll preface that by, I think that the MacroSystem Germany even said a couple years ago when they discontinued that product line that there would be no more software. And I don't know if you want to put clarity on that, Gary.
Yes, that's certainly out of my knowledge base, but that was what they said back then. Yes.
So it's important to understand that again, Gary is not a software developer. All the software development happens in Germany, and it sounds like Jorg's going to give us a hint about what some of that is, or what some of that is to come in next month at the MGT reunion. So definitely.
Yeah, there is a photo program that's coming. Everybody's been wanting that. I'm not, I believe it's designed after Photoshop Gold or Pro or something like that.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, there's everybody's been after a single project backup. Right now you can back up all 30 projects at the same time, and I really like that product. But people have also wanted a single project backup, and I hear that is coming as well.
Nice.
Let's see what else.
Well, those are two exciting things already that we got a sneak peek about.
Yeah, Edit to Beat I think is coming. But Jorgo will be presenting a video there at the MGT, and hopefully we'll be able to access it online afterwards.
Nice.
And
nice.
And so a lot is happening over there.
Yeah, definitely. Much more than any of us would imagine. And I think that's something that Gary spoke to a moment ago is communication. And it sounds like that's something very important to Gary, and that's something Gary's going to work to improve. And I think that is huge for the customer base in particular here. So, by the way, one of the MGT reunion founders here, Joe Connell, says, this is an MGT reunion. It's not a replacement of the MGT, but is a reunion of folks, and it's developed into some learning opportunities, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So some people are asking, how do you get a hold of Gary? Is there going to be a website, et cetera, et cetera? Well, here it is. You see it on screen. Right now it's macrosystem.us. So that goes with the company. And you can see here right on the home page, there's the contact telephone numbers. The toll-free number remains intact, and a new telephone number that went live that is a local number to the office there in Blaine, Washington, 360-371-4942. You can also reach Gary via email, gary@macrosystem.us. But please be thoughtful and respectful. Gary now is taking the reins of, this multinational company here dealing with the Americas, in terms of Canada, the US, and Latin Americas. And so, give him some breathing space, for goodness sake. So, he's not going to be able to, hey, how can I fix my, this little ditty, that kind of stuff. So Gary didn't ask me to say that. That's just my own, put your thinking cap on and realize where Gary's at, and let's allow him some space to get this thing launched and rocking and rolling here. So,
yeah, let me just say the toll-free number won't take effect probably till the middle of next week, but
okay,
the toll number is in effect right now.
Great. Great. Well, I have to wrap things up, and we're over a little bit of what I asked Gary to do today. I think we've shared contact info, and what I would take away as a kind of a summary of today is, we're thrilled that you have the passion, that you have the background and experience, the knowledge of this product line, and it sounds like Gary has some thoughts in mind to improve the company, both for the dealer network. And again, as an end user, that's like, so what does that matter? Well, it's important to have a strong dealer network. But as an end user, it sounds like he also wants to improve it for us end users to have more consistent communication, um, and also to hopefully bring more people to the product line. So that's great. That's great. A couple people say, good luck, Gary. We're glad that you're at the reins. Thank you, Gary. Appreciate this opportunity. A shameless plug, one of my website members says, to all the viewers here, consider a membership at Casablanca Expert. It's an excellent investment and valuable resource. So one last, well, we already covered that, I think. So let's do this here. The founder of Music to Hughes actually contacted me yesterday and said, hey, you're doing this event tomorrow. Would you be willing to give away an audio CD? And I said, heck, everybody likes free stuff, So let's do this. And what we're going to be doing is giving away an audio CD. It's one of the latest in their collection, called Folk Acoustic Blues. Folk Acoustic Blues. There's 10 songs, but each song has 3 different lengths to the track. Full version, 30-second, 15, whatever. It's a $39 value. And they will send you the audio CD. Now, they also, I need to disclose, they also did provide me with a complimentary copy as well. I'm going to go ahead and say number 26. So let me go down here. And number 26, congratulations, Jim Williams of Memphis, Tennessee. You are the recipient of the free audio CD from Music to Hughes called Folk Acoustic Blues. I'll get your contact info to them, and you'll get that. So nice. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for joining us today. And again, thank you so much, Gary, for taking your time. I really appreciate it. And I think it speaks highly of the journey that you're undertaking here to kind of make this a successful venture for all of us.
Well, thank you, Chet. Appreciate the opportunity.
You're welcome. You have a wonderful afternoon, sir.